ready to go? Okay, I'd like to call our Finance and Audit meeting for August 7th to order at 8:30 a.m. We have Brian who would like to call in. I'll entertain a motion to allow him to do that. Carolyn moves and Larry seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
You look good as a superintendent.
Yeah, thanks. If I have some interruptions, like first off, no breakfast, so a cinnamon roll in front of me, and a dog in my lap, and other interruptions, I apologize, but it's going strong down here.
Good. Okay, and then we have all other members present except for Eric. So with that, we will move on to our minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of July 3rd. John and Terry, any questions or discussions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
One public comment, Mr. Theriot.
One, Mr. Terrio. You're being the public today?
I am being the public.
All right.
You want a 3-minute warning?
Do I want a 3-minute warning? I'll cut him off at 2.5.
Thanks, colleagues, for indulging me for a moment. This morning I emailed this document and I've given a paper copy to all of you as well. Yesterday, the item regarding elected official compensation came up and we had a robust discussion, and if you haven't heard it, you might want to give it a listen. So this page hopefully distills it down into what I think are the salient points. The graph illustrates the growth in our peers' department head pay increases over time that also track pretty well to inflation. Excuse me, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. There's a couple points about the savings that I've brought to the county, but even without speaking about my particular contributions, the points for all of us are pretty much the same. In the bottom part, the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that median weekly income rose 36.7% from Q1 2018 to Q2 2025, and the cost of living has risen 28 to 29% in that same period of time. And in that same period of time, while my peers, their pay has risen about 28%, mine and others who are in a similar situation as me has risen 8.1%. So the discussion yesterday, I think, left the impression that if we were to implement the increases we're talking about, that we would somehow be richer than we would otherwise. And really what we're talking about is restoring the same buying power that we had in, say, 21 to us when the next pay cycle for us begins. So that's all for my 3 minutes. I would appreciate it if you'd be willing to call me into the conversation when that point comes up, but of course that is up to you folks. Any questions for me before I go back to the chairs? All right, very well, thank you very much.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, member comments? No? Okay. We're on to routine consent agenda. 3 that I would like to pull are 7.4, 7.5, and 7.11. Are there any others? John?
7.8.
John, 7.8. Larry?
7.1.
7.1. Are there any others?
Sorry, just give me 1 second.
That's fine.
It's going to be necessary. It's a lot. I know.
far the ones we have pulled are 1, 4, 5, 8, and 11.
Oh, can I do 7.3? I do have a question. Thank you.
Sure. Any others? Once? Twice? Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion to approve items 7.2, 7.6, 7.7, 7.9, 7.10, 12, 13, and 14.
Oh,
Terry
can I-
makes.
I'm sorry, can I pull 7.10? I
Uh,
thought it got pulled.
Nope. Okay.
Sorry.
So let me change that so I'll entertain a motion to approve items 7.2, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, and 14. Perry makes that motion. John seconds that motion. We'll go and vote. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian? Brian? Brian is leaving. All right, we'll skip Brian here, and then myself, yes. Okay, so motion carries. All right, let me just cross these off here, so I can, all right. We are on to item 7.1. I'll entertain a motion for item 7.1. Larry makes the motion, John seconds the motion. Larry, you pulled this one.
Yeah, I pulled it. This came before PED on Tuesday, and the people were refinancing their house, and so they needed to change the zoning from B1 to R1. And the zoning fee was going to be $12.50, I believe. And they're requesting that they would get half of it back because their feeling was it wasn't any of their fault. But did you want to talk about it, Adam?
Well, yeah, I think it's more procedurally. I think I failed to follow up on this one. That
Okay.
since it didn't pass at PD, it has no requirement to go forward.
Okay.
So I apologize for not clarifying that. And that just as the UDO goes or any other fee waiver, if it gets approved to go forward, then it would come forward to county board, county committee of the whole at that point. So I apologize for that.
So I can just stop talking?
Yeah.
So it failed in committee, is that what I'm hearing?
It did fail in committee.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't get a recommendation. And so, and I apologize, yeah, as we sat here, it dawned on me that I owed Pete that about an hour after that meeting, and I failed to get that to him, so. My bad.
It happens, it's fine.
Okay, so in order to deal with 7.1 then, do you want to move the table so that it goes away? Because that's what you're talking about. Huh?
Should have never come here.
So we don't
I understand, but it's here, we gotta do something with it.
Yeah, vote no.
So if you wanna move the table, that's fine.
If that's what you'd like, I'll move the table.
Okay, and is there a second for that motion? Terry seconds that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We just have to do something with it because it's on
I understand.
on posted agenda, so.
That's on me.
Okay.
Okay, we're on to item 7.3. I'll entertain a motion. Larry, John, Carolyn, you pulled this one?
I did. I was just getting some clarification. I have notes and sometimes I go back to them and I don't understand what they asked. Down in point number, looking on the impact of budget on that, bullet point number 3, it does say the reduction, the 8-member staff was fully supported in the budget. The reduction is temporary employee staff positions and pending reclassification. And then it says personnel savings in excess of, and there's nothing there.
That should be the totality of those savings with some of the personnel shifts and the temporary employees is about $26,000 for the current year. So it's money not spent. We had temporary employees through Working World that one left probably, I think it was November of last year, December, and then another one about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, that we just didn't need it. And as we restructured those assignments to full-time staff, that'll be another reduction going forward from the CD budget line.
Okay. Those.
committee members have questions on 7.3? Okay, if not, we'll go to vote then. Terry?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian's not back yet. Dan, can you tell me when Brian comes back on? Okay. Where was I at?
John?
Did I do?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
No, John, yes?
Yes.
Crap. Myself, yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Good morning so far. Okay, item 7.4, I'll entertain a motion for item 7.4. Whoever makes the motion, Terry seconds the motion. So I pulled this one. My personal feeling is that we were given information this morning. There was, by Joe, there's actually a spreadsheet that we got. I don't feel that the committee has had enough time to look at all of this. And so I personally would like to postpone it to the next finance meeting. There is no time issue with this. I think if, you know, part of our committee structure, you know, the admin committee should be weighing whether it's warranted or not, and then we have to analyze the dollar side of it. And I understand this doesn't impact next year's budget at all, but we're also making decisions for future budgets, which, you know, we will all be a part of. So I personally would like more time to look at it. I think the information that's being gathered on this spreadsheet here could be more complete because I know this was a last minute ask also. So I kind of feel like we need more information to have a good, robust discussion. So I'm open to anyone else's thoughts on the subject, but that would be my motion, if that's okay with everyone else, to postpone to the next finance meeting.
Me, and I'll second that.
Well, okay, do we need to vote on this? Because I wanted to jump in on something else with that. We're still discussing.
We're discussing it, yeah.
Great. So, Joe, this is a great start, but if I were in negotiations in your position, I want to be really clear, and I hope that all of the other elected positions that are in this resolution, for example, we know that you have reduced, that you have consolidated, you have eliminated, and you've had a huge impact on the overall expenses in the department. Then you've also been able to generate increased revenue, all right? And here, you're looking at the head count income versus your income, but I think it would also be good to see, like, where were the expenses before you came? How did, like a line of, these are how expenses reduced, these are how revenue increased that you generate on your own. And then with the impact of your pay increase, it's still going to fall below. It is. And I think that will be like a concrete picture that anybody can see and understand and build the case. And I'm not trying to make things difficult, but in every case, I know that Donna, with what you've generated in your efficiencies in processing the taxes, wow. And then the contracts that you've negotiated to save costs to the taxpayers when they pay their bills, and then investments and how you've done the changes in the investments. These are very tangible. So if I were going into negotiation, to close a deal, I'm gonna show, this benefit, then you can, for the heck of it, I put a dotted line in there and include the pay increase in there to show that it's still, an improvement on the impact of what you guys have been able to do. And I'm not trying to make it difficult, and I don't think it really is, because you've already got a good foundation of what you're doing in here, but I have watched and listened and lived under the changes that you have made. I've been in office to see the changes that you've made. Every department has done it. Ryan has done it with, oh my gosh, you buy a car and then you sell the car at the same price or more, understanding how systems operate. deunionizing, the headcount efficiencies. So these are real, and if I'm an employee and I'm gonna go in and say, this is what my department has done, that is what I'm gonna be presenting to the owner or my boss or whoever it might be. And we're representing the bosses who are the people who live and work and pay taxes here. So it's a great start. I just want to be really clear about what I think would be over the top fantastic and hopefully not like incredibly difficult.
So I appreciate that, and when I started putting that together, that's sort of where I started, and so I wanted to get it to something simple and really focus on the core issue, which is our pay gets frozen, right? And so when our pay was frozen in 18 towards 22, and then in 21, when it came up for discussion again, and we were in the middle of COVID, I wasn't gonna run out and say, you know, the people are dying in the streets, that I need to worry about my pay.
Yeah.
Regardless of, and I did include what I thought were 3 highlights, you know, that are clear, that are irrefutable, immutable truths that cannot be really debated as additional in my particular case, but regardless of whether it's me or Donna or whomever else, inflation has taken away 27% of our buying power. So the board said that we were worth so much in the past, and inflation has taken that away. So what I'm asking for is not incrementally more because I've been a good clerk. It's just to make me whole from what you said I was worth 4 or 8 years ago.
I agree. I
So
absolutely agree.
those are different. I'm not
but-
asking for a raise as a merit increase. I'm asking for a raise as a cost of living true up.
I agree. Well, if there was just a second graph with the actual work product that you've actually done, I mean, I know that this is true, but these are outside. This other graph would be inside. What you've done in this county, you have. I mean, you've revolutionized it.
Right,
These
yeah.
other clerks haven't done that. I mean, they're not even doing all the jobs that you're doing.
Right.
Because they don't know how, because they haven't got the technology and just basically the strategic vision that you do. And the reason that I'm saying that is we're going into an election year.
Right.
And this is something that's easily presentable to anyone who's looking at their property tax. And so it just helps us. I agree with everything here, no doubt. And what you're talking about, cost of living, I'm critically aware of it. This is what I do.
Right,
So-
right, exactly, right.
But I'm just talking about from a negotiation and from a presentation to the
Right.
elected, yes, to help. And I'm hoping that it's not burdensome. I don't think it would be because, I mean, I could almost do it, but
Yeah,
that's your job.
I opted for simple and easy to understand and not drive us into the weeds too much about like exactly what you used as a figure for a loaded salary, for example. or
Well, and I'm
that sort
just
of-
talking about the work product, the operational efficiencies, just because that's internal. That's here in McHenry County. And this is very valid, but it just strengthens your case. We've got 18 board members, and then we've got people that are gonna be calling in.
Mhm.
So you don't have to, it's just what I'd love to see.
Okay,
And if I were negotiating in your position, I would too. I would do it, because you've done it. And you too, I mean, all of you guys have.
I appreciate the roadmap. I think it makes business sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the sheriffs, what they've done, I mean, not only safety, but, you know, the record speaks for itself. But also, you know, the way they've generated, I mean, it's got a really crack team here, so.
And if I may, I just want to add, it's not by accident. It's not by accident that this is one of the best run counties in the state,
I agree.
if not the country. It's not. And it's not just because of us sitting here, it's all of us sitting here and those behind us and over in here. So I mean, talent and commitment, experience matters. And when you have value put in 1 year, and then you have inflation eating it away over time, it erodes the potential for the talent that is needed.
You're at 75%, basically, of what you were.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying that this is what's going on in the market and the economy and what's happened in this case. And why these things happened with previous boards, I don't know. But but then also then just looking at the excellent work product, and I'm not saying don't get complicated, just an overview, just that's all.
Okay. Is there any other information that committee members would like for next month? No? All right, then I'll make a motion to postpone item 7.4 to our next finance meeting.
Second.
Larry seconds that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We're on to.
I'm so sorry, Mike, but my vote was yes for those minutes, and I apologize, but we had some technical issues down here, so
That's fine.
I'm back, and hopefully we won't have other issues again.
Not a
Thank
problem. Okay.
I hate to do this, Mike. One more question about 7.3.
7 what?
The one we did, 7.4, sorry, 7.4.
7.4,
The
yeah.
one we just voted on.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's right. What?
It has got the board chair in with these other elected positions. And I know that the board chair position is defined as a full-time position. It's not in the traditional sense as the other elected positions are. Should we pull this out separately? Because it is, I mean, it's not like I've got to be in an office from.
I mean, I think that's something we can have the discussion next month. I mean, I can only deal with the resolution as it comes to me, but.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up
Yeah,
now.
that's fine.
For us to all be thinking about it. I've been researching it, I've been looking at the job description and all of that, trying to see, it looks like an orange and a bushel of apples, so I just wanted to.
Well,
Bring that up.
and again, I think for discussion purposes next month, I think the sheriff is also in a little bit different boat because theirs is tied to the state's attorney's salary. So, I mean, it's also not looking at things. So there could be multiple resolutions that, and again, we have plenty of time, so it's not like it's a time-sensitive issue, so. Okay, item 7.5 was tabled at committee. So we shouldn't really be even talking about it because it was tabled at committee. So I'll make a motion to table 7.5. And second, Brian, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. We're tabling it to next month.
No, we're just tabling it. Because they tabled it.
To next month.
I don't know what they did.
Who's they?
No. With respect, and excuse me, but we tabled it. There was no postponement. It was tabled. In order to bring this back to the table for consideration, we'd have to have a second motion in the future to do that. But this is not postponing.
Right.
Okay. Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, we're on to item 7.8. I'll entertain a motion for item 7.8. John? Larry? John, you pulled this one?
I just want clarification. In some conversation someplace, I don't remember, we're talking about budget. I thought this transfer was budgeted in the budget process. So it has been budgeted?
Yes.
So then we don't need a resolution for it, correct?
Well, I'll go ahead, Carrie.
So I think what's making it confusing is the order in which things are done. So the initial resolution for the ballistics class was transferring from this $50,000 that was budgeted from the transfer out and moving it into capital. So instead of increasing the budget, it was just a transfer from one line to the other. So then this one came second, asking for what the original 50,000 was budgeted for. So the fact that the 41 got tabled really kind of makes the need to change the budget on this one unnecessary. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree, but I just, to me, whether you move the budget or not is,
So the way the budget sits right now, as approved, with no resolutions to change it, the operating transfer out is set at $50,000. So this resolution does not need to add another 50,000 to that.
so why is the resolution here then?
That's what I'm asking. Because it would almost be like moving another 50,000.
Because initially in this cycle, the first one was the ballistics, which got tabled
Correct.
last week.
Yep.
So this one was already out there.
Would this have moved another 50?
I mean, if this one passes, as it's,
Because it would be, the 50,000 is already budgeted to be moved. And if we do this, we're moving another 50.
yes.
I don't think that's what we wanted.
When the ballistics one came through, I was not aware that this one would also be coming.
Okay, so what would you like us to do with this resolution? I can table it, but I don't know that that's the right answer either, because the other resolution hasn't been resolved yet.
I guess I would recommend that this one be tabled, and then the deal with the change to the budget as needed based on discussions with the ballistics.
Could we go back, table where, in law and government?
Yes.
Well, no, so then you're postponing it to law and government, not tabling it. Tabling it means
I
it
would-
never goes
So
away.
this resolution as presented was how it was planned to be during the budget. This transfer from the corners.
Okay, so let me ask a question a different way. Forget this resolution for 2 seconds. If the resolution that is currently sitting in law and government still pertaining to the ballistics class, if that one were to go forward and get approved somehow, some way, would this resolution be needed as a supplemental resolution to support that one?
Yes, and I guess a cleaner way of doing it would be if the ballistics moves forward, is amending that resolution. So instead of you're just transferring it from the transfer out to capital, you increase capital and use fund balance and leave this one as originally planned.
But that's not what the intent was. The intent was to use the fund, the automation fund.
Either way, it's using the coroner's fund.
Correct.
It's just this 50,000 transfer was planned, the ballistics class was not.
So perhaps it's better to postpone this resolution or to move it back to law and government and let them deal with the modifying of it if they want to modify it or whatever they want to do with it.
Can I just jump in, because I'm thinking, and Brian is going to jump in too, I think it's going to be important. I thought the discussion in law and government was, at this point, we had already voted as a board not to include the ballistic glass, and now he was coming, in the coroner was coming back and asking for the ballistic glass and being able to do so with this 50,000. And it was just, I think, I thought, and Brian's gonna back me up, or tell me if I'm wrong, that we thought that's something he actually can do without our approval. It's out of his fund that he has control over, and if he wants to move the $50,000 through and cover the glass, that's up to him. We wouldn't necessarily have to approve that.
But we do because it's a purchasing ordinance. It's over $30,000 for purchasing ordinance.
All right, Brian, do you recall? You're mute.
I can't hear you, Brian. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Now we can.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. The point is that law and government tabled this for exactly the reason that Carolyn said. The conversation was that the coroner brought this back to us after the board failed to take action in his favor. So he's coming back basically for the committees to consider this and say, let's move forward with it. Law and Government said no. We're tabling this. We're not taking action on this. If you want this done, you as a coroner, you need to use your funds as a priority over which you have control and you pay for that. Not coming out of county board general fund transfer otherwise. Then now it comes to the finance committee with the same question. We just tabled it again, which means that in order to bring it back, there's got to be another motion to bring this back. The idea of tabling is to get rid of it. It's being put in a closet with a lock and key. That's the idea of tabling. So we just tabled it. Law and Government tabled it with the idea that if the coroner wants it, he needs to spend the coroner's discretionary funds to do just that. The resolution that is on the table is to say, we previously kind of put this in. But we want to clean up now our budget and our approach by passing this resolution that says, we're not doing this. We're not doing it. So this goes in complement to the motion to table the action. I'm in favor of this resolution, which just simply makes the change. That's it.
But Brian, I understand what happened, Brian. The problem is that purchasing ordinance states that the county board has to approve purchases over $30,000, regardless of where the money's coming from. So if you just table it, which is what happened at the other committee.
Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
The resolution in front of you passed. It passed law and government on consent agenda. There was a second resolution to order $41,000 worth of glass from this money. That was taken.
Can we just clarify? It's
Yeah.
budget versus fund.
We-
So this is a budget issue.
We are seeking the state's attorney's opinion on the position that the coroner can spend this on whatever he wants and violate the purchasing ordinance.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
This resolution passed.
And that's fine. I'm expressing the concern that I have
Yeah,
that we're
that
now
makes-
finding ourselves in. That's it. I'm not passing judgment on the value of it or anything else.
So there were two
There
resolutions.
was two. One did
There
not
was
move
two.
forward because it didn't pass. It was
Right,
tabled.
and that was the one that was tabled. That's not
Correct.
this one. I just realized that's right before you.
And the agenda, it didn't appear on this agenda because this agenda had not been posted yet. So whereas the other ones that had failed, this agenda had already been posted and we were within the 48 hours. So I could not, like the P&D one, so I could not alter this agenda. But the other coroner's one, we had time not to put it on here since it had failed. So that's why you're not even seeing it.
Okay, so
So this is just the transfer of this money and allowing for that, so that should be fine. That's not the same issue.
well, but this is not, it's like Carrie's saying, it's not necessary. If there's nothing going on, it's not necessary. So okay, so here's my suggestion to us. I think we send this back to Law and Government and let them deal with whatever the state's attorney's opinion is, and potentially either create a brand new resolution that does what you're talking about and have it all in one, or not, because there's still an issue with the whole purchasing ordinance and violation of the purchasing ordinance. So I don't feel comfortable tabling it because I don't think that's the right thing to do, but I do feel more comfortable sending it back to their committee.
Hey, can I make a motion, please?
Sure.
I think we should pass this resolution as is. I think it is, in essence, it is as you have made clear, it's a financial position. It is a determination. And I think that what we should do is pass this resolution. It truly just says and puts it in the hand of the coroners funds. That's it. That's what it does. And I think that that's where it belongs. So that was the recommendation of the Law and Government Committee. And so I move that we pass the resolution.
But, wait a second, but
How to say, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to that motion? If you don't agree with it, then don't second it. There's no second, Brian.
All right.
Go ahead, further discussion, Carolyn.
okay, so if what we're saying is that this isn't necessary, I don't get, because that did not come up.
So what the resolution is doing is the coroner has the general fund, his general fund budget, and his coroner's fund budget. And the coroner's fund revenue comes from death certificates. And so he really uses that fund while looking at, like purchasing vehicles or other things specific for his operation. And then at the end of the year, he looks at the fund balance and says, the fees for the death certificates recently went up. So the fund balance in here is growing. So he looks at it and says, the general fund covers autopsies, transportation, toxicology. So as appropriate, this fund repays the general fund to cover some of those expenses. And so we budget for that every year, the $50,000 transfer. And so that's why in this resolution, it's asking to do it again. But that was because this one was also in play for the ballistics class that was essentially moving money from that $50,000 into capital. So it's really just a budget issue?
It's creating the money, he's giving the money out of his own fund to the general fund so that in our capital program, we can include the ballistics class to get that done.
No, it has nothing to do with the glass. It's just, he does this transfer every year.
Yeah, but this was specifically another $50,000 to cover the ballistics class.
If he does this.
That was not part of the discussion.
Well, you just said earlier that this was already, the $50,000 was already part of the budget.
Just to cover normal autopsy, transportation.
Correct. So what John asked was that, is this an additional $50,000 beyond what was already approved by the budget? And you said yes.
The resolution would increase the budget to $100,000. But I don't think the intent is to transfer $100,000. It's to transfer.
Correct.
It's to transfer an
It's only-
additional 50,000, right?
That 50,000 is budgeted already. It's already
No, this is an additional 50,000.
Yeah, I know, that's what my concern is.
But so the other.
I don't think the
So I thought
coroner
that-
understands what he's doing with this resolution.
No, I think he does. I think he's moving the 50,000 so that he can utilize it.
We can let him clear. Mike
Yeah.
called and asked if he should come over. I said I thought we would take care of this, but I clearly would not. So. I can get him over here to clarify his intent, if you think that's.
Can you articulate it? Because you've been walking through this, just so that everybody's on the same page.
I think he's intending to use coroner funds to pay for his bulletproof class. And maybe being a good steward, he wants to give you another 50. I'm not sure. But we can give him.
No, I see what you're saying.
If you look at,
I see what you're saying.
okay, if you look at the resolution before you, it is transferred to the general fund. What I have up on the screen was what Law and Government considered, and they did the motion to table, and it clearly says 41,000 out of the coroner's fund into the building, capital building improvements coroner's fund expenditure line item. So this resolution that was tabled was just moving the money from one part of the coroner's fund to another. Carrie, is that correct? It's not the same as the general fund transfer. So they are two different resolutions. And this is what was tabled. This is not on your agenda today.
Wait.
Right, but if you,
Oh, that's just
that'd be great.
confusing.
If we've already budgeted a $50,000 move,
Yep.
and now we have a resolution doing another 50, this is another 50,000.
And I'm not sure that's his full intent.
Doesn't need it.
And this is going from the
Okay.
revenue is utilization of fund balance to,
Is general fund.
no, it says operating.
Okay,
coroner's
so
fund operating transfers.
So remember, to transfer, you need two things. You need budget and you need money in the bank. So this because the 41 came first, it reduced his budget. So this is just putting the budget back so he can make the transfer. But if this 41,000 resolution completely goes away, then the 50 is already budgeted. And so it makes this resolution unnecessary.
Okay, so I personally need to understand what Mike is trying to do and wants to do.
They should be looked at together because
Well, but,
depending on this one drives what this.
That's
Mine says 50.
so what, how about this?
50.
What?
Mike says 50.
That's not, that,
That's the other one.
this is the
Yeah,
other
this
one.
one's gone.
That's the other one.
That one doesn't exist
All right, so
anymore.
how about this? Ask Mike to come over,
The other one,
and
and it
can we, is it okay with the committee if we
Said something else.
just leave 7.8 for right now, and we'll go do other stuff on the agenda till Mike gets here?
Well, what about the state's attorney's opinion whether he can spend this money for where he wants anyway?
Where's the
What do we
one
do
that
with
says 41?
Well, we can still have that discussion.
It's a chicken long government.
All my point is I need to understand what Mike's trying to do first. And then we can do appropriately with this resolution, whatever we need to do with it. But I don't even understand it.
Yeah, my concern wasn't so much that. My concern was that we've already budgeted a $50,000 transfer. This resolution, to me, creates another $50,000 transfer. So
It needs to be clarified before I'll vote for it.
I understand.
Give us
So let's,
$100,000 to the general fund, great, I mean, that's.
all right, so we're gonna leave 7.8 sitting there for right now, and we'll wait for Mike to come, and then we'll come back to that one, okay? Let's go to item 710. I'll entertain a motion for item 710. Larry makes that motion. I'll second that
Oh,
motion.
there it is.
Carolyn, you're 710.
Oh, the only thing on this one. I guess normally we just get a little bit more background on it.
It's okay.
And
I'm
so.
happy to give you some background. You'll
But
get
I
it
mean,
in my
like-
budget presentation.
Right, but normally in a resolution that we have to pass in committee, the backup page provides more information. And so I was just for consistency, like we talk about impact of budget, and we kind of hit certain things, and then it kind of helps us like, okay, yeah. And then we can add that to the resolution itself, and it just provides clarity. And this just didn't really have anything, that's.
Okay, I don't know that, because we've passed, she has a 3-year contract and she has since 2017. And I'm not quite sure because in the past, Norm Vinton sent the resolution. And I didn't think he sent a backup page, but I'd be happy to have Laura put one together. This is our court reporter for the grand jury. Huge savings, and actually we're not taking any money out of our budget. This would come out of contractual services, and we're not going to be asking for any more than we're asking to stay flat there, and we feel like we can cover this. So it won't increase any of our funds for our budget, which we're doing our budget presentation next week. I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's just good information on the back, that this is, like a summary of what this is covering, and the fact that it's contractual, it's not meeting it's whatever. I think that just is helpful.
Can I have something put together, just added after the fact, or?
Sure, yeah, I'm not holding it up today, it's just kind of more of just if we could have that information, I'm sure. I'm fine to move it.
That one's easy because we
Yeah.
save a lot of money.
Yeah, so that's good, right? You want to put that in? All right, thank you.
Okay,
staying.
any other discussions on 710? Okay, then I'll go to vote on item 710. Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
And myself, yes, motion carries. We're on to item 711. I'll entertain a motion. Larry?
So moved.
And Brian seconds. So this one, I pulled because we'd like to possibly modify it here.
Correct.
So you're handing
I'm
out?
passing out, we went in front of Law and Government, and there was a concern about the 10-year contract, which we were concerned too, but we weren't given an option. And I explained in that committee why this is the software company that we need to go with for this evidence storage and management. Their pricing was very competitive, and to be honest, it's kind of a monopoly. There's two companies really that do this right now that would be able to store and manage our evidence, which is, the state's attorney's office per federal laws have the burden of storing it per the Records Act until it can be destroyed, some never destroyed. So when I, after the Law and Government meeting, I went back to the representative from this company and just with my concerns that there was a lot of concern about the 10-year, and is there any way in good faith they could put something together for us for a 5-year? So she went and talked to their people. I know they are also representing, I think, 40 or 35 of the 42 police departments in our county, which also makes this a better company for us to go with because the transfer of evidence is much easier. Anyway, they came back and said we can do a 5-year, and what you see here is a 5-year. And actually, I was very surprised because they weren't real open to anything but the 10-year when we originally spoke with them. The reason that the first 2 years on the 10-year, the first 2 years were lowered because, and Tom Sullivan was involved in this as well. We just said we had some tough budget years, so they broke it down. It's really $136,741 every year, but they just broke it down so that the first 2 years wouldn't be quite as much of a burden, but they make it up in the year 3, 4, and 5, and then you go back to the 136,741. The 5-year plan, they said they would not be able to do that. They said if they give us a 5-year plan, we got to pay the straight 138,241 every year. And the reason it's more is actually because that $15,000 one-time deployment cost for the term was split 10 years. So in the 5-year, they split it 5 years. So they really didn't up it from the 136,700. It's just the difference of that $15,000.
And I think this is because of the law that changed. If we're doing this, correct?
The laws changed and caused our storage of media to just accelerate over 100%, and with all the body cams and every phone dump. And like I said, the state's attorney's office, not the sheriff's department or the police department, it's the state's attorney's office has the burden of keeping the evidence depending on what the, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 7 years.
Laws created a lot more evidence.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So we started with just, back 7, 8 years ago, we started with just a storage because our servers here couldn't handle it anymore. And then in the meantime, technology changed, and there was the advancement of a management system, which really helps when you think about our attorneys having to look at all this evidence. Sometimes you're looking at the back of a police car for 15 minutes that has nothing in it, but you have to save that to show that nothing happened in it for 15 minutes. So if it's a sex crime, a murder, or an arson crime, that evidence never can go away, ever. That has to be saved indefinitely. And then everything else goes from 1 year, 3 years, 7 years, depending on the type of crime and what the laws are. So it's our burden to keep this evidence and now also manage it because it's so massive. So obviously the need for a management along with just storage was necessary. So that's where we're at this point. This company, Axon all the way around, was really the only choice, not only the best, but the only choice. And the only other company that could do this and had any kind of comparables was the company we were with, and we had to, they had to release us from our contract because they couldn't merge our evidence over. So we were still using two systems. So it's been a struggle, and I wish we had more options out there, but they're just not out there yet. So we're fine with the 5-year. We would have preferred a 5-year. We weren't given a 5-year option after I let them know that I didn't know if it would pass through finance, and maybe they could go back to the drawing board for us, because, you know, in good faith, and they did. So we were happy that that we got I'm really surprised that I got this back, but we did. And at this point, you know, I've talked to Tom Sullivan, I talked to Pete, and we're happy to go with the 5-year if you approve the 5-year, and I guess this would have to be amended.
Yes. So I will make a motion to amend the resolution in the last whereas to change the wording to say the agreement with Axon will be a 5-year commitment at the following yearly costs, and then have years 1 through 5 be a cost of $138,241. Is there a second to that motion? John seconds that motion. Any discussion on that? All those in favor of the modification say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so that modification happened. Is there any discussion now on the modified resolution? If not, we'll go to vote then. Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Carolyn? And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries. We are back to, yep, Mike's here, great. We're back to 7-8.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. All right, Mike.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out what you're trying to do,
Okay.
so we know what to do.
Pete kind of informed me kind of what was talked about. So let me try and fill in the gaps. If there's any questions, we'll go from there. How's that?
Got it.
Okay. So the operating transfer fund that we budgeted from last year's. When I brought the first resolution that I proposed with the $41,000 with the ballistic glass, we used that out of the operating transfer fund and brought that forward in a resolution, okay? Then, after looking at more things and stuff in the finances and things in that nature of what can I do, because last year I talked about, you know, transferring another $50,000 from the corner fund into the general fund. So then wrote a second resolution. So we have 2 resolutions that were that part, okay? So the first part was coming out of the operating budget with the ballistic glass type of thing. Then wrote a second resolution just for the $50,000 out of the corner fund into the general fund. That resolution was basically copied word for word from last year's resolution when I brought that forward with the $50,000. Then with the ballistic glass thing, obviously it was tabled and during that discussion and things of that nature, but this resolution just kept coming forward because of where the money was. It wasn't coming out of the operating fund, it was coming out of a corner fund. Go ahead.
So was it your intent with both resolutions to transfer money from your fund to operating so that that could then pay for the ballistics glass?
Well, the ballistic glass, the operating, we just, because it was within the operating, the $50,000, what was it called?
So it's in a category of operating
Oh,
transfer.
it was transfer, okay?
Not a category
So
that
the,
can move without resolution.
right, exactly. So you can't move without that type of thing. So that's why we brought it forward. But that being said, the operating transfer was just put into the budget for transparency reasons and things in that nature last year. Plus, it kind of is a loose term that can be used on pretty much anything. if we need to, correct? With a resolution, obviously.
What do you mean? The transfer?
Yeah, the operating transfer is kind of a loose, because it's out of the 303 fund, is how it was budgeted. So it's kind of a loose term to be able to use it as needed and things of that nature. So that's where that was. So I think kind of the confusion might be the $50,000 transfer, and then this resolution looks like it's 100, but it's not. It's actually just the 50, that type of thing. Now, can we redo the resolution to make it out of the operating transfer fund or whatever? Yeah, it's still coming out of the same fund into the general fund, the $50,000.
So I think the intention for the ballistics class is that would actually be paid for out of the coroner's fund. So I think what you're thinking a total of 91,000 would transfer to the general fund, 50 to cover operating.
I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm trying to clarify what I'm
I
thinking.
think the $41,000 is just coming out of the coroner fund, but the operating budget fund is out of the coroner fund.
41,000 is transferring budget from operating transfer out to capital.
Right.
All within the same fund.
Yes,
In the corners.
correct, the coroner's fund.
For the sake of this resolution, forget about the 41,000.
Okay,
Right, because that was the one that didn't come from.
Sure.
In the budget, there's a $50,000 transfer.
Yes.
From exactly what's laid out here in the budget. That does not need a resolution to happen. It's
No,
already done. It's in the budget.
Correct.
We passed the budget, it was part of the budget, it's done. Now we have a resolution in front of us to move $50,000, which would be, to me, would be another, it's a separate $50,000 from what's in the budget.
But that's not what he wants to do.
He only wants to transfer $50,000 one time.
correct.
Well, which has already been budgeted for, and you guys approved in the November budget. So
Right.
this resolution is not necessary.
So I would remove the emergency appropriation language in this resolution if you want to keep it.
Well, why do we want to keep it even?
I don't think that's.
That's-
his intent.
I know it's not his intent, but I'm just saying that's why, but if we pass this
So
resolution.
we kind of have an understanding of what the intent is, right? Yes or no?
The intent's already
I
happened.
have no fucking
no,
clue.
because that's a one-time. I feel like this is an addition, I could be wrong. I feel like this is an additional to cover the.
If
But
we pass
but
this-
Mike's intent is only, your intent, forget resolutions for 2 seconds.
Yep.
Your intent is only to transfer $50,000 total for the whole fiscal year.
Correct.
And that was put into the budget, and that's happening already.
Correct. Well, it can or can't happen, and that type of thing. Like I said, it's kind of a loose term within that to use it at my discretion per se, because it's out of the 303 fund, yes.
So when does the transfer happen?
When he authorizes it.
Okay, so we budgeted for it, he just has to authorize it.
Yes.
No resolution needed.
No. And maybe some of the confusion is in the 24 budget, we did not have a transfer in.
Correct.
We didn't budget for it at all.
Correct.
So that's probably, if you just copy the resolution. from
Yeah,
last
which I
year.
did, from last year's,
Okay,
and that type of thing.
so this resolution really isn't necessary. It's strictly your authorization to transfer the dollars. It's been budgeted.
Correct.
So theoretically, if it doesn't happen, we're a whole of $50,000 on the budget side.
Right.
But a resolution doesn't need to occur in order for the transaction that your intent is
Right.
to actually happen.
Correct.
Okay, so what would you like us to do with this resolution?
Well, can we just, I don't know, make this resolution go away and then just transfer it?
We
Or
could
do
table.
Or do we need to do the resolution and just change the language within it?
It can go away.
Okay,
Okay, so
that was what I was trying to get at.
that's what I'm trying to get to. So that's fine. I just didn't want to do something in a vacuum and not have
Understand.
everyone understand, so.
Understand.
Okay, so then with that being said, we can table this resolution, which makes it go away. So I'll make a motion to table item 7.8. John seconds that. Any discussion on the table? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Sorry for having to bring you over, but
That's okay, as long as we got it clarified.
appreciate the clarification.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, we're on the budgets.
Wow.
Supervisor of Assessments.
Morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm all well, thank you. How's everyone doing?
How's things going down there?
They're going, they're normal. Things status quo, nothing new. Things are going well. Don't know how else to answer that. Just things are going well, assessments are going along, townships are being published as we speak. We currently have started, obviously, the 2025 assessment rollout in terms of noticing and making the changes to a lot of the assessments. 4 townships are published, and Richmond published and is closed in terms of appeals. Chemung Township is published, and their 30-day window for appeals and complaints is closed. Door Township is published, and they're currently, their 30-day window for appeals closes tomorrow. And then in Grafton Township, if you're in Grafton, you've gotten your assessment notice on Saturday, so we're moving along.
It was great, lots of paperwork coming in the mail, it's wonderful.
There is, but it is less than normal, so things are, the markets have, made it so that people open up their assessment notice and say, hey, I can absolutely sell my house for this amount. I'm okay with my assessment, so that's kind of what happens with the assessments and how it's all situated.
Did you say Nanda?
No, Nanda's not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Later on, so.
What, so it was published in the Northwest Herald, whatever, 3, 4, 5 days ago, something like that, I don't remember.
Grafton.
Grafton was,
Right,
yeah.
Grafton.
Well, I'm in Grafton, so I'm,
Okay, yep.
impartial to that, but.
Yep.
But not every pin was published.
Correct.
So what's the pins that are published versus?
The pins that are published are those that had some sort of change. So we have to publish everything every 4 years in the quad because that's the year that we revalue everything or indicate that we have looked at everything. We are in a non-quad year. In non-quad years, essentially the assessors make changes, get the new construction and or corrections to individual ones. And anything that has been changed individually now gets published because they have to have a notice. And then on top of that, everyone gets a notice in the mail.
That's, okay, I'm not gonna try and pick on my own stuff, but because I have multiple properties in Grafton Township, so none of the properties, as the value changed, the equalized assessed value changed on all of them because of the factor, but some of them got published in the paper and some of them didn't.
Okay, the ones that got published in the paper likely had some sort of adjustment, so.
Even though the value didn't get adjusted.
You're gonna need to be, I'm gonna need to look at that specifically, because if there was no value change from the township assessor, it shouldn't have published, unless it's farm. Is it farmland?
Yes.
All right, farmland gets equalized separately, so there is a new farmland value, which is why those are published. So I didn't realize we were talking about that in the.
Not a problem.
So residential property.
Got it.
There's been no change, you're just equalized. But farm property does get revalued every year based off of that current year's farm values.
Thank you.
So that's why those are in there.
Thank you. So how's your budget doing?
Budget's looking good, at least I think it is. We're not changing too much, if anything at all. We're just moving a little things around. But overall, again, I don't think we're asking for much more, if anything. It's gonna stay pretty flat.
Do board members have questions about assessor's budget? Anyone? There isn't much to it, so I don't know.
No, it's pretty small. I mean, we're working within the budget, trying to make individual improvements. Like if you, like last year, we kind of rolled out tentatively a pilot program in which we did virtual hearings. That worked out great. We rolled it out a little bit more comprehensively this year, so we actually have it so that people that actually want to appear virtually can. That's actually right on our form, so we're kind of trying to make the availability of a complaint and access to the board of review a little bit easier, so that's one thing that we're trying to improve. And overall, we're trying to improve the internet and transparency, and I know that one of the biggest pushes is education, trying to get this, understanding this assessment system. I get it, I understand it, and you realize as you speak to people that they don't. A lot of people really just disassociate or don't have a strong enough concept on how different it is from the taxes, the everyday taxes that everyone pays for the state and federal, how this is different. And that to me is one of the key things that I know that we're working towards. And be working with Joe and Donna, doing some roadshow stuff, going out and putting presentations together. So we're doing a lot of things to kind of hopefully get some understanding out there. We still get a lot of people that are angry though. I mean, I think I got compared to Al Capone last week, earlier this week, in terms of just the government and needing my pound of flesh because taxes are so high. So that does happen, but it's different.
I do have a question.
Sure.
When there's a mistake, for example, perhaps there's been a building that has been taken down years ago, but somehow it was missed. Is there any opportunity for things to go retroactively correction if they've been taxed on that building when the building's gone?
Only in the last year.
Only in the last year?
Only in the last year.
So at this point, it would just be 24 and then 25?
Correct.
Correction.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Once we're aware of that, the easiest thing is just, we can only check 24. And that's how it is. One of the things that this assessment system, one of the reasons for that, because it might seem unfair, one of the reasons I give to people is that we send you a notice every year.
Mm-hmm.
It is your opportunity to audit us. So by not saying anything or letting us know when we get that out there, you essentially have agreed to that assessment. Again, once you realize it, you got that 1 year, we can fix that. So that is part of that education of everyone, the constituents, that's important to me, because again, this is a system that's designed for you to be able to say yes or no to what we're sending you, because we send people notice. We're very transparent here. Not only do we publish, but we individually notice everyone. And so when you open it up, that's you saying, that's us letting you know what we're doing so that you can question us.
And then we actually have to go back to the state to get that parcel corrected?
No, in that year, it would be local. Everything would be approved locally. If we would verify that there was a mistake made, it was removed, see what kind of value, assessment value needed to be adjusted, and we could do that here. The state only gets involved when there is an appeal to the Property Tax Appeal Board. So that's separate, and then that's a different thing. The state gets involved only when you have appealed at the Board of Review, you get denied, it moves on to a more structured arbitration, with the state being the judge and jury of the data and the evidence that the board presents and the appellant presents. Only when they make a determination that a reduction is due on an assessment does the state really get involved. But then those funds come right out of the local things.
Yeah, not so much with your budget, but we had some software that we were paying for to catch people that had claiming exemptions that they weren't due. Are we still doing that? Is there any
We are not.
data?
That is the true roll system, and we tried it for a couple of years. We realized it served as a great tool for us to really verify kind of that our internal processes, what we have, are working. Is it perfect? Well, no, it's not perfect, but true roll also was not perfect in identifying that stuff. So what we've realized and we discussed is that while it's a good tool, it's not worth the $100,000 a year that we were paying for it. So there just wasn't enough there for us to move forward with it. So we canceled that contract. for August, I think. So we are not moving forward with that. So we're gonna keep relying on our people, and the people, trust me, people, when they become aware of it, they let us know. And we normally take action pretty quick when that does happen. So, and now we can't go back too much further than the year, but the 1 year cutoff is what we are currently at.
Fine.
Are there any other questions by committee members? Not consensus to move the budget forward?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, county clerk.
Hello again.
Good morning. Still morning.
Yeah, it is still morning, thankfully. In a few words, overall, there's really no change, with sort of a very late arriving potential change. So the clerk's office is in the 11th hour for an RFP for a new system for vital records, which the ongoing cost is pretty much a wash. The timing of implementation, though, might require us to carry on with the prior vendor for a bit longer than we had anticipated. So that thing you heard was an email from Duana in purchasing that had been in contact with the potential vendor. We're still waiting on what the timing of that conversion would be. So it might mean $8,000 plus or minus in the clerk's budget to do that transition. The benefit to making that transition, in a very practical sense, is it would allow our customers to start the process of, for example, a marriage license at home, come into our office and say, I'm Mike Scala, I'm marrying Joe Tirio, and the secret's out, and I'd like to finish that here. We'd pull it up, we'd print it, we'd say, look at it, does that all look right? Yes. It's gonna be so many dollars, give me those dollars, here's your license and you're done. So about a 2 or 3 minute transaction rather than a 20 or 30 minute transaction, which oftentimes is rework because they don't come with everything they need, because it's at home where they would be doing this. So in the end, it would probably free up about a half a person's worth of time, which then, as vote by mail participation continues to increase, would put that in that bucket. So that would avoid us from having to try to bring in another head count. So all in all, it's almost a wash with about an $8,000 potential expense in the coming year, depending on how this turns out. But otherwise, in terms of the, if we start with the recorder, the real estate market has not been great. I don't think that's news to anybody, with some very recent exceptions. So the past month or so, we've seen an unexpected upturn. We expect a little bit of an upturn towards the end of summer, but it's a little more robust than we might have thought. Does that portend for some explosion? I don't want to draw that conclusion from this tiny bit of data, but nonetheless, and my sense and the sense of other pundits is that there is some pent-up demand out there. People want to move. People are hoping that there's going to be some change in interest rates and relief in terms of pricing. And while that's not indicated right now, some of those people are going to have to make that move anyway. And so I think we're seeing some of that happen now. If interest rates do drop, if pricing does slow, we'll probably see an uptick, but I don't think we're going to see an explosion anytime soon. In the recorder's office, we have, for practical purposes, eliminated a head count. It's on the budget for now, again, because the anticipation is that in '26, we're gonna see some more growth. But if that doesn't materialize, we'll probably give that headcount, and we won't fill that headcount until we have demand to do that. But otherwise, it's second verse, very much like the first in the recorder's office. In terms of the clerk, from a financial perspective, again, with the exception of that $8,000 potential expense, we had some projects in mind that we're going to just sit on for a year in the hope that the economy does perk up a little bit and it makes a little more sense in the following year. Nothing that is in demand or required. We've talked a lot about ballot on demand and printing ballots in the polling place. And the ROI just isn't there. I know it sounds crazy that we print up all these ballots and then many of them have to be destroyed, but the cost of those devices is just so high that across their lifetime, it still doesn't make sense just yet. If we find ourselves in a situation where, and I think we're headed this direction, as vote by mail participation increases, the demand on in-person voting decreases, we might find ourselves in a position where we don't have to have so many election day polling places. If that's the case, then the ROI, depending on what that change is, might make sense. So we're headed in that direction. And it's wait and see at this point. Yes?
So how are we coming along on having universal, I'll say, super sites versus precinct stuff still?
So that's,
because I think that would help in that situation, right? Because you could have more super sites and less precincts.
Right.
So the amount of equipment you would need would be.
right. That's part of that whole
Right.
idea is we'd have a fewer number of sites. They'd be universal, sort of like early voting. You can go anywhere and vote. It would be more sites than during early voting, but not as many as we have on election day. I think the idea is theoretically sound. Everybody agrees philosophically that it's a good idea. I think the implementation is where the debate remains, and how to distribute those polling places among a population. And you know, McHenry County is a great sort of example, right? The east half is suburban, the west half is cows and then a couple people, where Mike lives. And but so where do you put, obviously geographically you wouldn't want to split it that way. So I think that's probably the biggest sticking point in that debate. And also sort of lack of attention to it. It's not a burning issue, and so it hasn't gotten a ton of attention. I know the clerks are anxious to do more with it. Ranked choice voting was a big attention grabber in our world in the past year. That has fallen aside, it appears. So maybe we could get some more attention. We also, the County Clerks Association has a new lobbyist, and hopefully they can also help move that along a little bit. But it's,
So is it still, is it your thought process that still is not codified in law that you can do that?
yes, to the degree that, and there are some counties that are interpreting the law differently, and I'm not there yet. And yeah, so it's not in law. And so I don't think it would take a dramatic change to do that. But the real sticking point is how do you decide where those places go, I think is the biggest sort of philosophical hurdle in that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And then in terms of the budget, you know, we obviously continuously look for ways to you know, reduce costs, and we've been able to do that with some of our printing, which is one of our biggest expenses, and have found a number of ways to keep control of that. So it remains, we're going to keep it as it is. We're going to hold off on projects. We had some maintenance, and we're hopeful that we won't find ourselves in a situation where we need to do that, but we'll address that if we absolutely have to, but I think we'll be all right. Thoughts or comments? Mr. Brown?
That headcount you're talking about, is that the clerk 3?
No, that's actually in the recorder's office is the head count.
Oh, because there was a headcount increase shown for 25, 26 for the goes from 4 to 5.
That's in the clerks.
That's like right.
Yeah, you know,
Recorders.
that's progression. The clerk's office is unionized. The recorder's office is not. And I think that reflects the aging of somebody as they are in
Oh, okay.
are in office.
Got it.
Yeah.
When does that contract come out for them?
It was 24, we did it, and I think it's a 3-year contract,
Okay.
so to 27 with Aspen.
Yeah, I see the one goes down and the 2 and the one goes
Yeah.
down. Okay, I missed that, I apologize. Okay.
Other questions, comments, thoughts?
Committee? No? I can't tell if you're,
No,
okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
no.
All right, then consensus to move both the clerk and the recorder's budgets forward?
Yes.
Yes, Terry? Okay. Yep. You were just saying yes? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thanks, Joe, appreciate it.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Advanced McHenry County. You were sitting here, so I'm assuming that, you know.
I sent out the update to everyone yesterday. We just finished the quarterly reporting and then the annual reporting. So that's all been completed. Everything is moving along really good. We have spent a total just over 66% of the funds. And then I'm at the point now where I am setting up calls with each one of the recipients to just, I mean, I know everybody's on track, but just to, I'll be doing that probably every other month just to stay on top of them. And if there's anything that they need from me. But a lot of the water sewer projects, all of them have begun. We're starting to see reimbursements come in from them. The other big construction one was New Directions. They had a lot of trouble finding land to build their building, but they are in the process. They got the land, the permits, that building has started, so everything is moving along good, I think. Does anybody have any questions?
Sorry, I didn't look at this email prior to.
That's okay.
I apologize, so I'm scanning it right now, but.
So we feel good about everyone's gonna spend what they're supposed to spend?
I believe so. There's a couple in-house ones that, there's a possibility they may not, so I am talking with Bronner and reevaluating things, to see what we can do, because there's different things that we can still reallocate if a project, is not going to use all of it, so there's just different rules. So we just have to, I'm getting, kind of working through all that right now.
Okay.
On this, just maybe next time you send it out, could you just put a date like the date it was generated?
Oh, yeah. That's
Only
easy.
because every once in a while I want to go back to find other ones, I'm like, what date is that from? And so
Yep.
the date of the email gives it a little bit of a clue, but that would just be helpful, thank you. And I appreciate you pulling this together. Okay, that's great.
I don't know. I have other, no, quick look, no, I don't have any questions, but.
Well, if you have any questions, you can always just email or call.
Okay.
And as you look at this is not something, you're not seeing anything that jumps out at you that you're concerned about at this point? Because you're
No.
staying on top of, if you're calling that often, I think you're staying on top of it.
Though, there's nothing that I'm not concerned. One of them that is a little bit hard, for example, is like kids in need. I'm not concerned that they won't spend the money. They have already spent it. It's just they don't have the staff to get the reimbursements in. So they've gotten a new executive director, so she's kind of trying to figure everything out. So I've met with her a couple times, so I think we'll finally start getting those. So there's a couple of them that are kind of like that. It's not that they won't spend the money, they already have been spending the money. It's just some of these smaller non-for-profits don't have the staff to get it in. But you'd think that they'd want to sooner than later, because that they'd want the money, so. But no, there's nothing that that jumps out at me right now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reports.
So just,
What are you excited about this month?
well, I'm still excited about the single audit. That's a
All right.
carryover from last month. But I just would like to report Baker Tilly came out, it was right after the 4th of July to the field work for the single audit. If you remember, the single audit is a requirement for any government receiving more than $1 million in federal awards. And then the single audit just reports on those specific federal awards. You know, and I know I touched on a little last month, they chose 5 programs, which is different for us. Our contract with Baker Tilly accounts for 2 programs. So the additional 3 programs cost just under $20,000 additional. And really, my experience this year with the single audit, it was a lot more intense than.
Say this one more time.
Brian, can you mute yourself?
Yeah,
Brian,
we
can
don't
you
put that in.
Brian, please mute yourself. Thank you.
That was bad.
So this year was really and I'm assuming that the list that Baker Tilly was working off of was coming from the federal agencies. And it was really a lot more intense than we've experienced. They did really deep dives into the 5 programs. And, you know, so I just want to recognize Laura from Workforce, Eric and Brandon and Sarah from Community Development, Scott Hennings from DOT, and then Carrie, of course, with ARPA. Those were the programs that were selected, and they did a really great job, not just in handling the auditors and everything that was getting thrown at them, but also, you know, I told them, I said, this is really kind of the payoff for having such good process, and you know, they really understand the federal awards, and they're confusing the ones that got selected, and you know, they had no findings, so it was good. I think it was kind of a confirmation of, you know, we know that everyone's doing really great, but it was a lot. It was just it was a little overwhelming, and you know, Dodie Venice in our office, she kind of led it, and then Crystal Havley, she came over we let her kind of take the lead to get a feel for, it's kind of like a mini financial audit, to get the, all the emails coming in and all the requests. So I know you guys don't get super excited about it.
Well,
but,
I think it goes
Yeah.
to the processes that were put in place that are good, and I think they show that you guys are doing an awesome job. Not you, but like everyone involved is doing a great job, and that's exciting. I mean, it is exciting.
Yeah, but I think it's always just kind of keep your foot on the gas with these federal rewards. It's always surprising to me. You think, it's this huge agencies and all this money and what they look at and zero in on. One of someone from Baker Tilly came down and she spent all day at Workforce going through all the files for eligibility, and I mean, it was really a lot this year, so it was good. It was good. So that's finished. Well, they'll issue the final report, I think they said around the week of the August 18th, so I will forward it to you guys if you have questions.
They don't have to come present, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, of course, you can always reach out to them if you have questions, but this one's pretty straightforward. Okay, on to budget.
Now this gets me excited.
So next week, I will be presenting at the Committee of the Whole just a look at projecting revenues as well as we have a better idea of expense than where we were, I think in May is when we did our initial projection. So we've met with the majority of the departments. It's actually been a little more hectic this summer, but it's kind of nice. We really made sure that we brought at least some budgets through in June, and I think that has helped volume-wise, so you guys can take deeper dives, but also just kind of our process too has been helpful. So I'll have that next week. We haven't talked, Dan, how do I make this bigger on the screen? About our, the general fund major revenues. So I will send this out for you guys to look at. If you have any questions or comments, I can incorporate that either from today's discussion or when we talk next week. It seems somewhat insignificant. It just probably 70% of our revenue just rolls up to these few line items. And this is just general fund. So some of the stuff that I just have started out is this number here, which for the property tax, I know is going to be a lot of discussion, and I have it built in for my scenario next week where we can change the percentage to whatever some of the scenarios we've talked about. But just for starting off, this is, if we take on the full extension, the 2.9 CPI and new growth, and then looking at some of the needs of the other funds, then this would be what's left for the general fund. But again, I know that number is going to be the subject of a lot of discussion. So this is just a placeholder for now. The next three lines, the sales tax and the local use. So,
I know, but I can't turn my neck down. Oh, sorry.
On, starting with the April distributions, so the local use is sales tax for internet sales that are for companies outside of Illinois. And so the local use, they used to collect all that statewide and then allocate it based on population. So starting with the April distribution, that local use is going to be based on where the person doing the purchase resides. So I reached out to IDOR to see if they could give us an estimate what exactly that means for us. I think it might be a little more beneficial to the municipalities, but trying to determine, the piece of the local use, our allocation based on our population, how is that gonna change based on the actual use by the person doing the purchase? So moving up into these two lines and out of local use. So the recommendation for IDOR was to look at the 5 months of the distribution that we've gotten so far and try to build your estimates from that. So what I did is, looking at it in total, is I took the 3 lines, and again, it's trying to figure out how, if this is gonna go, I think most likely our total will go down, but then we also have some just built-in increases with prices going up, people buying more things and so on. So these are the numbers that I'm at now for the sales tax. Tax transfer stamp, Joe just talked about, this is the number that's in the recorder's budget based on real estate transactions, the income tax. This number for the PPRT is given to us by the state.
Go ahead. On income tax, where you're estimating lower than annualized?
So the distributions are not consistent. So I tried to find a number in between kind of the increase that we've been seeing, and then some of based on the distributions that we've seen. But I think that annualized number for sure is higher than I think where we'll end up at the end of the year.
Okay.
So then cannabis, we roll it up for presentation here, but really there's 2 lines. We have the sales tax based on the dispensaries within McHenry County, and that's a bigger piece. We have 1.5 for that. And then we have 100,000, that really is a type of restricted revenue. It has to be used for drug enforcement type activities. So we keep it here, but really we have to apply, sheriff's personnel.
We get money for drugs, and then we gotta help out people that have drug problems.
Because the 100,000 is actually money for all of the dispensary sales throughout the state, and then it's reallocated. So even if you're a county that does not have a dispensary, you still receive some of the cannabis use.
Are those broken out by location at all? Do we get that data?
I'm actually in the process right now, working with a vendor to get in to see that level of detail.
But we don't get that from the state?
No.
Okay.
We don't get that from the state on any of our allocations.
I'm just curious how our Richmond facility is.
I have a call this afternoon with our vendor where I can see that hopefully start to see that detail. So I will let you know.
Okay.
And then a new one in Wilson too, so hopefully that's gonna be bigger than.
Again, this is a hard one. This one's leveled off a little bit, and I think it's because, it's trying to find true new growth versus, at some point some market saturation. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping the Wisconsin poll.
Yeah.
We get their cheese, we get their cheese.
Off-track betting, this is a tax, that's why I leave it on here, but it's really very insignificant. And then our video gaming tax is, this one's surprisingly large to me, but.
It's a lot of locations.
Well, these are just the ones that are unincorporated.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Imagine what the municipalities get.
So I will send this out if you guys have questions or comments. But this is kind of my starting point for the revenue projections for next week.
Okay. Any questions for Carrie about that?
No, sir.
Okay. What else you got?
That's it. We've been doing a lot of budgets.
Well, how are we, can you share with the committee, like, and I know I don't wanna take everything away from a week from now, but, are we still on the same projection that you've been giving to all the committees as far as the precursor?
So the personnel is coming in slightly higher than where I had it projected. But some of the things I didn't factor in when we looked at it in June, it's like forever ago. Is using the terminal reserve, or that I have built into the model, using the terminal reserve to reduce the general fund's cost of health insurance. Some of the other things that I think we're gonna discuss are how some of the other funds can help us, like the enterprise funds, RTA for very specific expenses. And really.
Again, that's a
opening up-
paradigm shift.
Well, and that's, yes. And then two, really, is it solving the problem or it's just depleting some of the other funds, so.
That's not solving the problem. It's repositioning ourselves for future issues.
Yes. But I mean, it really doesn't, it's not that much different than what we talked about in June.
Okay.
I have a question. So when we look at, I mean, I don't want to say we bake in, but every year we have a cost of living adjustment with the departments, and we see that with the personnel. And on the budget sheets, we see what the 2026 IMRF FICA is going to be. We don't see what it was from last time, so it's hard to calculate what the percentage increase is, and I'm not sure that's completely necessary. I'm wondering, when you look at this expense, that we know we're not gonna just hold salaries flat if we want to keep our employees for any length of time. But what is that increase percentage over the entire general fund budget? Like, I can look and I'll, somebody in personnel, it might be 1.8%, it might be 0.0, whatever, 0.8. How does that total personnel percentage increase, what percentage does that represent of the total general fund that we're looking at, that is baked in before we even start to look at kind of whether we cut or whatever? So you're saying it's gonna grow, the general fund is gonna, if all things being equal, and we're paying people money, and we're going to, have a cost of living adjustment, that expense grows, no matter what. But if we want to hold flat or cut, it's already grown. So what percentage is that growth of the total general fund for purposes of where do you offset that and by how much?
So the non-union increase we have right now, kind of built into all these numbers, is 3.25%.
3.25.
And then the union ones are based on the contracts, which we've seen a pretty big increase based on the contracts that were approved last December for FOP.
I'm sorry, so 3.24 for just
3.25 for non-union, and then the unions, I'd say it's similar for the union, it depends on the union, but where we're seeing the increases with FOP was they had a market adjustment on December 1st.
On when?
Last December, and
Okay.
I think like unit 2 was 8% and unit 1 may have, I'll get you the exact numbers.
Yeah, okay.
But they were, the non-union employees were getting 4% merit in the prior 2 years, and they were in a contract, I think, at 2, so there was some catch up, right, to the market.
So that was FOP, but another one wasn't, somewhere more in line, depending on what the contract was.
So FOP has 3 contracts, the deputies, corrections, and then their support staff. So I'm pretty sure corrections was 8, and then,
okay,
I want to say 3.
I guess I'm trying to understand how these are really kind of baked into these increases that, as we go forward, because the cost of doing business, I mean, that's personnel cost.
You say baked in.
Well, I mean,
I think, yeah, there is an expectation that.
right, it doesn't have to be
For non-union
4%.
staff, it doesn't have to be 3.25. That's, I think, what we think is appropriate given the inflation. When Carrie presents next week, we'll have that. If, assuming these expenses,
continue.
excusing this levy, this is just the delta. You know, we'll be able to have that. They're all variables. You move them around.
Right. No, and I don't mean baked in as you're right. It just kind of makes it sound like we're going to absolutely do that. And I know that that's not the case, but some kind of market adjustment
The union
is
ones,
done.
you can use the word baked. I mean, they're in.
Okay, for the unions, okay.
There's no decision making.
Right.
Yeah, and about half our employees are union.
Half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's just understanding that. What's that pressure we're already facing as we try to talk about whether we're going to keep this flat or whatever, but general fund isn't just personnel, there's other things within that. So those increases that are market adjustments represent a certain percentage of the general fund expenses. I'm just trying to figure out how this all.
Yeah, so for some
But
of
you
the,
don't have to answer right now, I'm just
Well,
saying, yeah.
so I have added in stuff we know for sure, and that kind of got us to our starting point. So then from this point, if we only see personnel increasing, you know, even at 2.5%, you know, and no increases anywhere else, you know, where does that get us? Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And because some are like personnel, for some of these, it's like one personnel is like going up 1.0 something%, and I think the staffing is the same, so I'm one, you know.
So
And
there's a
we just-
lot of variables with personnel, and you know, even if someone retires and they're high in their range, and then you bring in someone that's new, they're low in the range, or you know, someone takes insurance or they don't, you know, those can be fairly large swings. And then when you look at that across 1,300 people, that's where you see some of the. And we do account for vacant positions, depending on the department. You know, some really large departments, it's guaranteed that they're gonna have some vacancies. But then some of the really small ones, we don't really assume they're gonna have a lot of vacancies, because most of the time they're fully staffed.
Any other, do you have anything else you want to cover? No? Okay. Any other questions? All right. EDC, I don't know if you have heard, Jean Schober passed away. Her funeral is on Monday from 4 to 7 at, I can't remember, it's a funeral home in Cary.
I'll send out the information I was meant to do that yesterday.
When did she pass away?
When?
Yeah, do we know?
4 days ago, 5 days ago, maybe? She had some medical issues and so.
She transitioned to hospice.
Right. Yeah. So, I'll be attending, you know, her funeral and stuff, so if anyone else wants to, you can get the information from Pete.
Thank you, Pete, for doing
We don't officially have a speaker for the dinner, which is November 12th yet, but there are some really good candidates that we are working with, trying to understand budgetary issues with that, because speakers require different amounts of money, and what can we afford, and what messaging are we bringing across. So we're still working on it. It's a work in progress, but it's going along. We're working, or will be working on a strategic plan. So I had a meeting last week about that and what that would look like and when we'd be doing it. Nomination committee is busy at work putting together a slate of individuals for both exec board and for the regular board. And is there anything else I'm missing?
Meeting next week.
Meetings next week. Natural McHenry County.
Well, I want the same items that were on your MCEDC list, except for your bad news. National McHenry County will be meeting this afternoon at the MCC Catalyst Campus in Woodstock at 3:30. Key items on the agenda are finalization of the strategic plan, as you mentioned with MCEDC, and also we're going to look at a revised budget because the state grant came in and was $17,000 higher than last year. So now we get to revise the budget and allocate those additional dollars. So we're excited about that. It's always a good thing to do. The National McHenry County dinner, annual dinner, is going to be October 2nd. That'll be actually at the old courthouse.
October 2nd?
October 2nd, yes. So watch your emails because the invite will be going out. You should all receive one. But here's a little tip. Buy your tickets early because seats will go fast. It's very limited seating. And if you buy by August 22nd, there's a $25 discount. So that's important to note. And it's a Roaring 20s theme. So you can plan for that.
I have the
So
list.
Al Capone, who was talking about Al Capone earlier?
Alex.
Oh, Alex was, that's right.
So, all right. And if there's any questions on National McHenry County, be happy to field those. Otherwise, I'll let you continue your meeting.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 10:22 a.m. Harry makes a motion, John seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Brian.